Imagine walking into a store, handing over $7 for a product that cost less than 50 cents to manufacture, and walking out feeling like you've just made a great deal. In any other industry, this would be considered a scam. In the world of specialty coffee, it's a daily ritual for millions. But here's the secret Starbucks doesn't want you to realize. They aren't selling coffee. They haven't been for a long time. Starbucks is a tech company, a real estate mogul, and a psychological laboratory, all hidden behind the smell of roasted beans and the sound of steaming milk. Today, we are going deep. We will uncover how Howard Schultz turned a tiny bean shop in Seattle into a global superpower that uses CIA-level psychology to track your movements, manipulate your spending, and literally change the way your brain perceives value. This is the dark science of the Green Siren.
To understand the manipulation, we have to go back to 1983. Howard Schultz, a young marketing director, takes a trip to Milan, Italy. He is mesmerized, not just by the espresso, but by the culture. In Italy, the coffee bar was the heart of the community. Schultz returned to America with a radical idea. He realized that Americans were lonely. They had home, the first place, and work, the second place, but they lacked a third place, a neutral ground where you could sit, relax, and feel sophisticated without the pressure of being at home or the stress of the office. This was the first great hack. By making the stores comfortable with soft leather chairs, free Wi-Fi later on, and jazz music, Starbucks wasn't selling you a drink, they were renting you a lifestyle. They knew that if they could make you stay for an hour, you would justify the high price of the coffee as rent for the space.
Every single thing you see, hear, and smell inside a Starbucks is engineered. Have you ever noticed that you can smell the coffee from the sidewalk? That's not always natural. Starbucks uses specific ventilation systems to pump that aroma toward the entrance. The lighting? It's intentionally warm. Why? Because warm lighting triggers the release of melatonin and makes you feel safe. When you feel safe, you're less critical of your spending. Even the counters are designed at a specific height. It's high enough to create a barrier of authority for the barista, but low enough that you can watch the theater of your drink being made. This performance justifies the premium price. You aren't just buying a liquid, you are buying a 30-second show. Let's talk about the words. Small, medium, large. These are universal terms. But at Starbucks, you're forced to say tall, grande, venti. Psychologically, this is a tactic called common language. By forcing customers to learn a new vocabulary, Starbucks creates a psychological in-group. If you know the language, you belong. If you don't, you're an outsider. This sense of belonging creates intense brand loyalty. But there's a darker side to the names. Venti is Italian for 20. Most customers don't know that. By using exotic-sounding names, they mask the reality of the portion sizes and the calories. It sounds much more elegant to order a venti caramel macchiato than a bucket of sugar and caffeine. This is where Starbucks wins the war for your wallet. It's called the Decoy Effect. If Starbucks only sold two sizes, a small for $3 and a large for $7, most people would buy the small because $7 feels expensive. So they introduced the grande as the middle option. They priced the small at $4.50, the grande at $5.25, and the venti at $5.50. Suddenly, the venti, the most expensive and highest margin item, looks like the best value because it's only 25 cents more than the middle option. They have successfully tricked your brain into thinking you are saving money by spending more money. It's a masterclass in behavioral economics that they play on you every single morning. Now we enter the 21st century, where the manipulation becomes digital.
The Starbucks Reward app is perhaps the most successful trap in retail history. As of 2024, Starbucks holds over $1.6 billion in customer balances on gift cards and the app. To put that in perspective, if Starbucks were a bank, it would be one of the largest mid-sized banks in the United States. But unlike a real bank, Starbucks doesn't have to pay you interest on that money. In fact, millions of dollars are lost or expired every year, which is pure profit for the company. This is what Wall Street calls breakage. The app uses gamification, giving you stars for purchases. This triggers the same neural pathways as gambling. You find yourself buying an extra drink you don't even want, just to complete the challenge and get your free reward. You are working for them, and you are paying them for the privilege.
Why is there a Starbucks on every corner? Sometimes there are two Starbucks right across the street from each other. This seems like bad business, right? Wrong. It's a strategy called cannibalization. Starbucks will intentionally open a new store near an existing one to saturate the area. This does two things. It eliminates the competition. No local coffee shop can survive when Starbucks surrounds them. And it reduces wait times. In the American market, speed is everything. If the line is too long, a customer might leave. By having two stores, they capture 100% of the foot traffic. They have become so dominant in real estate that the Starbucks effect is a real economic term. When a Starbucks opens in a neighborhood, property values typically rise by 0.5% almost immediately. They aren't just selling coffee, they are shaping the geography of our cities.
In recent years, the American consumer has become more conscious. They want ethical coffee. Starbucks responded with massive marketing campaigns about ethically sourced beans and fair trade. But how much of it is true? While Starbucks does more than some, they have also faced massive lawsuits regarding child labor in their supply chains and intense backlash for their stance on labor unions in the U.S. By painting their brand in green, the color of nature and ethics, they create a halo effect. This makes the consumer feel good about their purchase, masking the industrial reality of a corporation that consumes billions of single-use plastics every year.
So, what is Starbucks? It's a place of comfort, a digital bank, a master of psychology, and a global real estate giant. The next time you hear your name called, and probably misspelled, by a barista, take a second. Look at the lighting. Think about the grande you just bought because it was a better value. Realize that you aren't just a customer, you are a data point in a $100 billion experiment. But despite all the tricks, we keep going back. Because in a world that is increasingly digital and disconnected, that $7 cup of coffee